doing, since so far doctors are ignoring me. In spring, late spring, early summer of 2021, I returned to work as a hairdresser after getting my first two COVID shots. Around the same time, I started to notice kind of a weird thing where one day I was driving home from work and I tried to put my elbow up on the window and kind of rest my head on my hand. And I noticed that the window felt higher. And then I started to notice that in the same arm, when I would reach for something that was a little bit further away, so I had to really stretch a little bit, I would get this insane shooting pain down my arm that just kind of lingered and radiated there for a few minutes. And it was really excruciating. As time went on, the pain became constant. It was no longer just when I did something that triggered it, it was all the time. And it was kind of low grade at first. And then I started thinking like, oh, well, it hurts and that's why I can't lift it very well anymore. And I started doing research online to try to understand what maybe I had done. And of course, I made an appointment to see my doctor. I thought that I might have an injection site injury because in my Googling, I learned that if a vaccine is not injected into the right area of the shoulder, you can get an injury, and it can even sometimes be a permanent injury. And I got really nervous. And I have my first doctor's appointment finally. And this is already months after I initially noticed symptoms because, the first thing was so vague and strange. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. By the time I saw the doctor, I was having more constant pain and I was taking a lot of Advil, and it wasn't actually making it go away. It was just making it a lot better at that point. And so I went to the doctor and I told him all of this, and he was like unimpressed that I had waited so long to come see him, which, I tried to explain that initially it wasn't a constant problem and I thought I would just hurt myself in that moment. But I tried to stress that it was so bad at this point that I was taking all this Advil and that was worrying me. And he just said, well, you can take like 600 milligrams of Advil every 6 hours. That's fine. Which, I mean, technically that's fine, but it's not good. So, and no one should need to take that much Advil that often is another point to be made. So that was the most dismissive and disinterested doctor I think I've ever met. I decide to change doctors so that I can see someone else. So I call my insurance and I change doctors, and I wait the month for that doctor to be assigned to me. And this doctor is a woman, and I specifically chose a female doctor after I switched from him because there is evidence that shows that female doctors are better doctors. So I'm thinking like, maybe this will help. Maybe she'll actually care. Maybe she'll listen to what I'm saying and have some ideas and understand or know what to do next. And I go to this doctor, and she is the most disagreeable person I have met in a very long time. I give her all of the same information. At this point, the pain has become even worse, and it is a constant, excruciating pain. And I am struggling at work. I can't pick my shoulder up all the way. I can't pick my arm up all the way. It feels incredibly weak. It's in pain all the time, and my hand is shaking because it's so weak. And so I'm like on tiptoe, tilting my body, holding my arm as high as I can with this shaking hand, trying to hold a comb so I can cut hair. It's really bad, but there's nothing I can do. So I see this second doctor, and she says I'm crazy, basically. She's like, at this point, we've decided it might not be an injection site injury. It might be frozen shoulder. And I tell her this, and she's like, I've never heard of it. What is that? Which, you're the doctor, so you should either know or you should be willing to look into it. But for anyone who doesn't know, frozen shoulder is a very mysterious condition which affects women at twice the rate that it affects men, which is probably part of the reason that any doctor might not know about it, which I've now had two, apparently, because the first doctor, who wasn't interested in even figuring out if there was something really wrong with me, clearly also doesn't know what frozen shoulder is, or he might have actually thought of that. And now the second doctor, who doesn't know what it is this weird condition that sort of comes on slowly, where your shoulder starts to get tighter and tighter so that you have less and less range of motion. And it also is excruciatingly painful 24/7, no matter what you do, even if you're doing nothing, even if you have like your arm in a sling, it just doesn't stop hurting. There is no comfortable position. There is no, oh, thank God, I'm going to go to bed and lay down and that it will feel better. It doesn't feel better. Advil, I'm taking at this point 3 Advil every 6 hours, every single day. It does not make the pain go away. It makes it slightly less. In the middle of the night, I will wake up when my Advil wears off and I will get up and go take more Advil, because that is just how bad it is. So I'm at this new doctor and I tell her I think it might be frozen shoulder, and I'm thinking I'm so happy that I can tell her I think I know what it is so that you can just help me. And she's like, I've never heard of that. You don't even have nerves there. Should I send you to a neurologist? So she basically just said, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just crazy. And then she also said, or maybe a rheumatologist. And I said, maybe a rheumatologist. I finally see the doctor. I'm like, finally, I get to see a specialist. This guy is going to know what he's talking about. He's going to know about this condition. He's going to help me. He gives me the physical examination, and I tell him everything, and I'm seriously so excited to see him. And I tell him everything, and he examines me, and he says, I don't know, I think you might need surgery. And this just based on like picking up my arm, holding it up, pushing it, trying to see if he can get it higher. The usual treatment for frozen shoulder is a cortisone injection and physical therapy. I knew what it was by then. I knew it was frozen shoulder. I was 99% sure, until I would go to a doctor who would try to tell me it was something else. And this guy had made this diagnosis without any imaging, based only on what I was saying and what he was seeing physically. And I had all of that information as well. And I was pretty sure at that point that it was frozen shoulder. I hate needles so much. I have to put a needle in my shoulder, which is incredibly painful, by the way. This shoulder is in excruciating pain all the time, and they want to put a needle in it to give me a shot to take the pain away. I was so excited to get this shot. You have no idea. I was counting down the days to this appointment, because he could not give me the shot because he had to submit it to insurance for their approval. So I make another appointment and I wait another month in excruciating pain. I go in, and the tech has even already set up the shot and everything, and I'm like so excited. And he comes in finally and he's like, oh yeah, no, we're not doing that. And he said, I'm just concerned that the tendon is too weak and the cortisone can really degrade the tendon and you could actually tear it. And this is a valid concern, but I'd like to point out to you again that all of these diagnoses have been made without imaging. I know now a handful of people, quite a few, who have had the exact same condition. Not one of them was denied the shot. Not one of them was told they needed surgery. Every single one of them got the same treatment. They got the shot and they got physical therapy. I did get him to refer me to physical therapy, and I have to say that was the best experience out of all of these with healthcare professionals for this particular issue, because A, they completely understood what I was going through and were so kind to me and so understanding. It was so validating. And B, they actually did things to try to help me. And they actually were very compassionate and careful around the pain I was having. So ultimately, what happened with this condition is that I did not get all of the treatment that I should have gotten. The healthcare system was an absolute nightmare, and it took me forever to get treatment because each of these doctors was basically incapable. And I had to just suffer through all of the pain. So the rest of the information about this condition is that what happens is that very mysteriously the shoulder loses range of motion. It becomes very tight and very, very painful. And then it stays that way for an indeterminate amount of time. There's no way for anyone to know how long it's going to last. And then eventually it starts to just get better magically. The pain starts to go away, range of motion returns, and then physical therapy really, really helps you to regain full range of motion. And eventually, I did get full range of motion back. Eventually, it was 100% again, and I now have full range of motion and no pain in my shoulder, thank God. And this is also one of the reasons that I talk a lot about how no matter how much I love doing hair, it is not a smart choice for me to not have another option. It's not a smart choice for me to expect to be able to do this until I stop working, whenever that is, because I've already had a situation in which my body had a major problem that I couldn't resolve quickly, that I had no control over, that was really, really impacting my ability to work. And I didn't have any other way to take care of myself. So this is now a second or a confirmation really of something I've always suspected, but it's kind of like on top of the COVID thing where I couldn't work because of that, which was bizarre and unexpected as well. I now have had a physical injury that's made it almost impossible. And I would say that a lot of people, and definitely anyone in a better situation, anyone who maybe has a partner who can help them out and pay the rent while they're dealing with a health issue, or anyone who even has like a large savings, I would have taken a lot of time off work to just take care of this. It was very, very hard to work during this. So as I was saying, this was just sort of confirmation for me that I really needed to be able to do something else. And this is also when I was still taking a lot of the classes related to UX design and graphic design, and trying to figure out what kind of job I might be able to do. It definitely got in the way of me keeping up with those classes during that year. It was so painful. It was hard for me to do anything extra, even just in terms of having any ability to focus on anything. So that is the story of the year I had frozen shoulder. If anyone is dealing with frozen shoulder right now, I deeply sympathize. I hope that you are getting good treatment and feeling better soon. If you've just found me and you're enjoying my story, please subscribe, like the video, share, comment, and I will see you next Sunday. Thanks.